Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with another World of Warcraft secret, and today it takes us to the Obsidian Sanctum, which is right underneath the Worm Rest Temple. It's also referred to as Sartharian's Lair, so take your pick, but Obsidian Sanctum is the technical name for it. Now, this is an interesting raid. It's a single boss raid, which I have cleared out, but it's not what I would call particularly pretty. I mean, just look around the place. And I know people can find beauty in everything and, oh yeah, but it's cool and stuff. But just as a technical, geographical area, it's not very pretty indeed. You've got this rather smallish battlefield in front of us, which obviously now's all cleared out for you for the video. But around the place are just all these austere mountains. And there is a lot of invisible walls blocking you from getting anywhere. However, there is a certain place on the map that you can sneaky poo through, and it is here at this first little lava waterfall. Now, what you're going to do is just make sure that you kind of stick within the rocks, the three rocks that go up. Try and stick not necessarily directly in the middle, but kind of around them. And you'll eventually find your way past the invisible walls and eventually get yourself up to the top. And now you are officially out of Sartharian's Lair. Now, you could swim across the lava and get up onto those mountainsides, but I roll a Demon Hunter, and Demon Hunters have very cool mechanics, and I like to use my mechanics. But little idea, hold on, look. This is an area that you could possibly get up, invisible wall. Here's an area that you couldn't get up, no invisible wall. Cheeky, isn't it? Cheeky. Anyway, let's carry on. Yeah, so Demon Hunters have all these great abilities, you know, these great sort of maneuverability assets to them. So I actually like to go over to this area, because this actually involves a little bit of jiggery-pokery. And we all like a bit of jiggery-pokery. To get up right to the top. And it's very interesting when you get right to the top, because this whole raid, as I've just mentioned, it's very austere, it's not particularly pretty, it's just there. Lava, rocks, mountains. And when you get behind it all, it's actually really interesting to see what you see. So I won't ruin it just yet if you've not seen, but get onto the top there and a couple of fell rushes to get onto the top of this section. Then just wait for fell rush to come off cooldown, and then just leap across with another fell rush. I personally would wait till you've got both fell rush charges available for the next jump. You can do it with one, but it's much easier with two. Jump, fell rush. There you go. And then just use the other fell rush if you fall slightly short to push yourself up. And then when you're here, you just mount up for a little bit. Start getting right up there, but we're not quite done. We're not quite where I want us to be. Let me just get up to the top here, and then I'm going to take a left. I'm not going to go straight. I'm going to take a left when I get here. There we go. Let's go up to this side. And then here you see a couple of rocks. Now, a small one on the left-hand side. We're just going to do a little jump onto the top here. And then when we get here, jump, double jump. Then glide into two fell rush charges, and then glide, and that will just get you over, and then you can just leap and glide onto here, and we are pretty much dunsies. I'm going to do a quick fell rush there. So you can mount back up, and then we're going to go right up now, and now we're not at the tallest place that you could be in this dungeon. I'm going to go there towards the end. So let's just get an idea of scale, though. And you'll sort of understand where I'm coming from when I go into my next bit of spiel. So if we just bypass a couple of holes there so you can get stuck. But if we just get right up here and then turn around and look down at the battlefield, look how small the actual battlefield is. Bearing in mind, this is the surface area of the battlefield. And then just look how small it is compared to the lava that surrounds it, and then all of these mountains. And not just all of these mountains, which obviously give that aesthetic feel of the area, but what is behind. because this is where the really interesting thing happens. Some people, remember, well, actually, before I go into some people, remember when I did the video recently about Razorfen Downs, and I was going on about the Void, and there was nothing there. It was literally just the dungeon and nothing. This has everything. And when I say everything, it's just got reams and reams and reams of environment. Now, some of the environment you can fully understand, because even if you're down on the battlefield, if you can just see the topmost, top place of a mountain, then that is actually careful consideration to detail. But when there are like tons and tons of cutout environment, and if I just go around here, you're going to see a lot more. Look at all of this. When you just see all this literal cutout environment, it is uggles. I mean, it is really, really ugly. And it kind of really makes you scratch your head thinking, what were they doing? Were they just like placing various bits of environment and deciding which ones would work and which ones wouldn't work? And we don't know where these pieces have been cut out from. I'm sure somebody would tell. But because it doesn't have to be the colour that it is. You know, don't get fooled and think, well, it's got to have come from, you know, Blackrock or the Syrian Gorge or somewhere like that. No, not necessarily. Because environments can change very easily with a bit of a colour palette, as we've seen many times. I mean, for instance, take the skybox, for example. This skybox isn't a unique skybox to this raid. No, this skybox is actually the skybox for Shadow Moon Valley from the Outland, but it's just recoloured. Instead of being green, it's actually orange. And then I'm not exactly sure because I haven't checked, but I'm always willing to put a substantial amount of money that it's also the same skybox used in the next expansion for the Firelands business. So, you know, they reuse assets. They can just tweak the colour palettes of assets. So we don't really know where this has necessarily come from. But yeah, it is a really bizarre, ugly, packed, crammed place. And to be quite honest with you, it kind of fits, if you get where I'm coming from here. It kind of fits the actual raid itself. But at the same time, you do have to scratch your head and wonder why. But for all of that, it really does lend itself to some very interesting places. Now, you can actually get down there without too much difficulty. And there's a lip going all the way round the whole of the raid, but it's an untextured lip. And then you get, well, we'll get to in a second, but you'll get to some untextured areas in a moment. So they don't need a lot of these assets. They don't need a lot of them at all. And I'd be quite surprised if it didn't take some people about an hour and a half to load into this. Back in Wrath of the Lich King with all those potato PCs. I had a potato PC back in Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King was the first expansion that I actually got my very first graphics card. And it was about halfway through. Up until then, all my World of Warcraft life, I'd been dealing with the Intel chipset. So there were times when I was raiding Black Temple, for instance, in the Burning Crusade, I'd have 3 frames a second. But I was a warlock, so I just had to sacrifice my succubus and spam Shadow Bolt, so I was always like number 1, 2, or 3. So that was all right. But yeah, there's just this area must have taken some people hours to load into because of the nature of all the stuff and obviously all the rendering and everything that it must have taken to load this place in. But just look at it, more and more and more mountains. Now, this is another closed-off area with another huge cut-off place. And if I get right to the edge, and then we have this untextured bit. It is absolutely bizarre. Because normally, when I do a secrets video, and we go into the ins and outs of the secrets video, there always seems to be a certain beauty or a certain charm about it, especially when you look at something like the Well of Eternity dungeon. But this, and I'm not saying it's because it was an early doors, because, you know, it's the second expansion, Wrath of the Lich King. It's before, you know, Blizz sold out. You know, there was a lot of care and attention put into this, but it's just hella bizarre. Now, does that mean you can't get anything out of this? And I'm talking about role-playing wise or stuff like that. Because I always like to look at the role-playing functionality of an area when you do an escape video, because people do like to play. And actually, I think this is pretty good if you want to do some sort of Outland potential role-play, or if you do want to do some Blackrock. Because remember, everything that we see on the World of Warcraft game world that we play is only meant to be a fragment of what actually exists there. It's not how the world is. Otherwise, it'd be the smallest world in the world. But look up here. Again, look how tiny the battlefield is. But before I end this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the top of the highest point, or there or thereabouts. There may be a mountain slightly bigger. But when you get to the top of this next area, it absolutely, drills home just how small the physical battle area is. No, it's not that way, Sunshine. We've got to go all the way around. Just how physically small the battle area is compared to everything. Look, take it all in. Take everything in, people. Because when we get to the top here, you're going to be absolutely bamboozled by what you see. Now, you can get mounted up here, and I know I do the secrets videos with a demon hunter, and I say a couple of people. One person in the last video spat the dummy out and said, I really enjoyed the video, but I gave it a thumbs down because you only do it with the demon hunter. Because Blizzard are obviously tightening up, I wonder why, on their secrets and their dungeons and stuff. They're putting a lot of, they're taking a lot of toys out which other classes can't use. Now, this is a dungeon or a raid in this instance that you can escape from if you are not a demon hunter. You just have to follow what I did at the beginning, but you just have to use a mount and bounce up on invisible ledges. So here we go, top of this peak, and look! Just look where the battlefield is and everything around it. Everything surrounding this place. It's crazy. Literally crazy. So let's jump off. Everyone wants me to jump off things. And then even coming over the brow of this mountain, you see how small it is. So just imagine when I was at the top of that mountain. It's just a fraction of a raid compared to everything that you can see surrounding it. I do think there is some beauty here and there is some charm, but my god, it is ugly as balls. It is seriously ugly as balls, man. And it's been one of the most unique secrets, I think, to date. Not because of how difficult it is to escape, not because of the complexity of what surrounds it, but more to the point, the mess that surrounds this area. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everyone. Bye for now.